Okay, so I've just bought myself a little airbrush and decided to have a little bit of a play with it, and I'm having some fun with it, and someone's asked me to do a little video on some of the stuff I've just done. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try and get a little video together. I've only had this for about a week, so it might not work out too well, but here goes. So I've had a little look on YouTube, and some guy on there has been doing some pattern stuff, but the problem he had was he was making these patterns only all by singles, and they was massive, like 300mm each. Well, I wanted to do some spraying, or I do want to do some spraying on a little sailboat, and I think the patterns are bigger than the sailboat, and if you tried to do it with the small ones, the way they was doing it, it would be so difficult. I thought it was unreal. So I've decided to design my own and make them. And what I've got is a CAD program. So I've drawn on the computer a pattern, and what I've done is I've printed it out. So I'll show you what it is. So this is one of the patterns that I've drawn on. This is an A4 sheet. And what I've got here, if I can get it, is some what I call Mylar film. This is 75 microns thick, and this is the stuff that we use on our sailboats for making the sails, and it's brilliant stuff, I think. So you basically put that on top of there and hold it in place, and then we mark all these lines, these construction lines on it, and then we cut out the template. So I'll show you in a second what it comes out like. Okay, so I've cut out some templates, and I have a long one here and a short one. Now if your templates are longer than your project, it's a little bit easier because you haven't got to move them around so much, but of course you can move the small ones around, but the long ones are more difficult to handle than the short ones, so it's your choice. Right, the next part is how to hold the template, and what I've done here is I've cut a little strip of lead here, and as you can see I've bent it like so, a little bit of double-sided tape, and stuck it straight onto the template, because this could be moved around wherever. And the good part about it is, if you get a curved surface, it's quite simple to bend around, and then you've got yourself a nice curved one to move it around. The other option is something like this, is to find yourself a bit of tin, lay your whatever you're going to use on the tin, a bit of paper, whatever it is, and have some little magnets, and they just hold it all in place. Okay, so I've got a little bit of craft paint, just a bit of cheap old paint here. This is what it is, and this is what we're going to use for a minute. Right, we're ready now. We've put this in the corner here, in a fairly straight line, and what I've got here is just a cheap Chinese air gun or airbrush, and we're ready to have a little go. Right, where these lines are here is where we want to put our little bit of spray in that area. So we're going to have a go and see what happens. A little bit at the end. We can now lift that up, put it there, just covering that little piece there, and do this bit that we haven't got. Like so. We then need to lift it over and we need to place it on there, like so, and cover these little bits up here, and then go again. I'm only going over lightly at the moment, but if you was doing a petrol tank or something like that, you would probably need to go 2 or 3 times over it and get a bit more paint on it. If it ain't working quite right, it's probably because I've only been doing this for about a week, so I'm learning as well. So we're going to carry on now. I'll do this little bit. Okay, so I've been over it, and if it's not dark enough, we just go over it again, and you get the idea. Just keep going over it until you get it right. So the next part, you'll see all these little curves here, and that's what we got to aim for. So what we need to do is to put this on those curves and try and line them up like so, and then just on this side we need to just give it that little bit like so, and you see now that the program is starting to go. So really we should have started from this side, because we're going to walk over ourselves on that. So we're going to go here, try and cover it up like so, and then just go over them little bits. Once that's done, pick it up and put it over the next one. Try and line it up best you can. And then again. And the pattern's starting to come, so I'll just blow that in a minute. Well, I think that's most of them anyway, so you get the idea. It could obviously do with going over a couple more times, but it looks okay to me. So I've had an offcut, and there it is from the one of the templates I've made, if you can see that. So I decided to have a play with that, and we'll just show you what this one comes out like. Now if we set him up on there, and then we'll just give that a little bit of a spray there. Like so, and then we move this one so that them points are touching them points, and then we spray it again. Give it a little tiny bit of an overspray. Line the points up again. This is just a rough bit of it. I haven't actually designed it, just picked it up and put it on, but get a bit of an effect out of it. And there's what we could do with one there. and we'll have a look a minute and see what we're going to get out of it. So the compressor I used is this little thing here. This is a cheap Chinese copy, but it works blooming lovely. It's the same as some of the dearer ones, but this is good. And obviously the worst part is cleaning up all the gear, and so I've made up some cleaner, and it's 10 parts Windex, 15 parts distilled water, 5 parts isopropanol, and 1 part glycerin. And for a thinner, I've mixed up 15 parts distilled water, 5 parts isopropanol, and 1 part glycerin. It's a lot cheaper than buying the other stuff. And the needle I used on the airbrush was a 0.5. So there it is.